Welcome to O-Talkin' with Dave. Coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, where what happens in Vegas is talked about everywhere. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're doing great. I am top shelf myself and ready to go. I am so focused. And that's what we're talking about today. About focusing on whatever is important, because the premise is, and it's so true, whatever we focus on improves. Think about it. In sales, in our personal life, home, work, play, all of it. And I've said this mantra with every company that I've been with and every team I've led: where we focus, we improve. Not because it's something magical, but because the human brain is obedient. I know what you're thinking, not my brain maybe, or I know people whose brains are different, Dave. No, it's obedient. Your mind works like a heat-seeking missile. It does. It locks on whatever you feed it, and it starts adjusting behaviors and awareness in an effort to support the target that you're setting. That's not motivation talk. It's biology. And we're going to prove it. Why does focus work? You mean all I have to do is focus? It's not that simple. Focus works. Studies in cognitive psychology that show that brains, it's called reticular activating system. RAS, reticular activating system. This is real stuff here, but it's a filter. It's a filter in your brain. It decides what gets through and what gets ignored. This is a real thing. You have filters. Imagine your photographs. You take photos with your phone, and then what do? You filter it. You decide what gets through and what doesn't. That's the same way our brain works with something on our mind, with a target, with a focus, with a goal. When something matters to you, your brain flags it as important, and suddenly you see it everywhere. Purple car. We're going to talk more about that. So see, that's why people who set written goals, write them down, focus on them, they're 42% more likely to achieve them. You write it down and you focus on it, half the time you're gonna achieve it. You're 42% more likely to achieve it. We'll say that. Athletes use visualization to improve their performance, and you can measure it. I went over this survey one time before. It's incredible. Athletes who visualize success, or golf swing, tennis. The Olympics are going on, and we're going to talk a lot about that. But they visualize what's going to happen. The swimmers, they visualize the whole race. I saw the half pipe the other night. They were visualizing every jump, every turn. That visualization improves performance even without physical practice or physical activity. It's incredible. It's the brain. It's the focus. And then salespeople, I'm telling you, if they focus on activity metrics, they're going to outperform those who just hope for a good month. Hope is not a strategy. It's activities. And so many times, and those of you who've worked for me or Kenya, he really says this: you don't get paid for activities. You get paid for activities that produce results. Focus on those activities. And it doesn't just improve results, it reshapes your perception. The statement, my experience is what I agree to attend to. William James said that. My experience, it is what I agree to attend to, meaning it is where I focus. That's the whole game. If we reduce everything down to just focus on the task at hand, that's why multitasking, I get so much pushback on my stance on multitasking. It's not me, man. It reduces your productivity by 40%. I know. You know who you are. You know who you've been this last 2 weeks saying, David, I need to multitask. I got so much to do. Okay. All right. We'll do a lot more half as well. Is that what you want? Okay. I'm not going to stop it. Erase. Let's talk about human nature and focus. You don't casually focus. Focusing is a bond. We attach emotion and identity and meaning to our focus. When we do, very human traits kick in. One is selective attention. We notice that what matters and ignore what doesn't. We do, and I'll give you some examples, but this keeps us sane, but it also blinds us. The horses with blinders on, why? So they can focus. They're not distracted by stuff all around them. Selective attention. What matters we focus on and we ignore the rest. One-track mind. My parents said that constantly. Boy, you got a one-track mind. They didn't call me boy. David is what they call me. I call my son boy. I've told him he's got a one-track mind too. So you got selective attention. The second thing is pattern recognition. Once you focus, you start connecting dots that you really didn't notice before. This is how your skills compound. So you can get that. I think of tennis. You got pattern recognition, meaning, okay, you have the routine and the cadence of what you're doing. And you notice what works well. You notice what you do well. You notice what maybe a competitor doesn't do well. Pattern recognition may be a cadence in a meeting, or I even go back to church growing up. You go in, you start, you stand, you sing first, third and fourth verse, you sit down, you stand, you do that. It was a pattern, but you do that. And you could do that without a lot of focus because it was ritualistic. But with focus, you connect dots that weren't there before. And when you do that, you improve. You find little ways, you find shortcuts, you find details you didn't notice before. Then the third thing is emotional amplification. What we focus on, it feels bigger. It's louder. The wins are bigger. If you lose, it's heavier because you're emotional about it. It's important to you. But momentum builds faster too because you're focused. Let's go back. Selective attention. All this stuff's not in the way. That makes this your whole world. You're noticing the patterns. And now this amplification makes it so much more important. And you're so much more driven on this laser focus. So emotional amplification is huge because you got the mind, you got the patterns, now your emotions are getting. You want it. And then the fourth is confirmation bias. We seek evidence to support it. Men can justify anything. If I want a new set of golf clubs, that's all I can think about. That's all I can think about. It's so important. And I notice things. I notice other patterns. I am seeing so many professional golfers play with these now. I am seeing golf ads everywhere. I am seeing so you notice that pattern and you get emotional with it. I really feel like I can perform better if I could just have these golf clubs. And then the confirmation bias is we want evidence to support it. We can build confidence, but also we can build a trap. We can build a trap for ourselves because now this is more. You're looking for something that the focus is on confirming that I'm right or that I need these, and it changes the narrative. And then finally, behavior, your behavioral alignment. We're so focused on this. We want it bad now. We're noticing things. It's all we can think about. Our habits will reorganize around what we focus on. Even sometimes when we're not trying, we migrate that way. So this focus that we're talking about, and I'm going to get away from the biology and all of that and get to some real practices and examples, but it is human nature to focus on certain things. That's why focus can be dangerous when it's misdirected, and unstoppable when it's aimed well. It is. Real life focus can't be blinded. So there's many times you've lived this, and you have things you focus on. Others do too with their bias. Sometimes when a team gets focused on the same thing, they are unstoppable. And we've all lived this. So you buy a new truck. Okay, I haven't seen this truck. And so you get a new truck or a special color. Once you get it, you see it everywhere. My goodness, the true purple car, the purple truck theory. Now you see it everywhere because you're emotionally tied to it and you're focused on it. You talk to a young pregnant person, pregnant woman. They're expecting a child. That's all you talk about. It's all you read about. Strollers, car seats, diaper commercials, or everything pertains to the child because you're focused. Other stuff's not as important. It's still there, but you don't notice it because you're focused on this. And then you think about, let's say you're in a job and you think about leaving the job. Okay, I'm thinking about that. All of a sudden, every bad moment is amplified. Every meeting you have, that confirms it's time to go because you're looking to leave the job. Your focus is on the negative. The same thing if you're focused on a new job opportunity. Oh, you practice interview questions. You think about that. You look at the new salary. If you move, you look at the new city. You look at all things involved in that. And it's fun. It's fun. You can, in a crowded room, let's just say a crowded restaurant, you hear the faintest mention of a name that's the same as yours from across the restaurant. You're going to look. You'll hear that. Or maybe it's the name of a loved one that's close to you or something. You're going to hear that because that tweaks something that means something to you. And then, my goodness, you can be driving home thinking about something else and completely miss a stop sign you stopped at 100 times. Or miss something that's been a constant in your life because you're not focused on it. It's just habit. Your brain doesn't fail in that case. It did exactly what it's told. And when you hear something or see something everywhere, that is your brain doing what you're telling it to do. Absolutely. And it's important that, and I talk about this so much, it's important that we be specific what we're telling our brain to do. Because generalities, please, you can't solve specific problems with general questions. You can't reach specific goals with general direction. General focus is lazy. Specific focus, boom, that works. For example, let's say your focus is on losing weight. All right, lose weight. You lose 2 pounds and, okay, I lost weight. Goal accomplished. No, that's not it. I want to be able to get into my gym clothes. Oh, you got drawstring sweatpants. Oh, that's not hard to do. Oh, mission accomplished. See, that's not important. That's not focus. That's general stuff. That's lazy. You've got to give the brain something to organize around. Okay, let's just say it's January. It's not, but let's say it's January. I need to lose 20 pounds by the end of March so I can get into a tux for a wedding. Let's just say that. Or get into a suit for a wedding. That's it. 20 pounds by the end of March. That's what we got to do. Okay, what happens when you do that? What happens when you do that? Okay, you start getting specific things around it. It's not hope now. Okay, I got 3 months, 20 pounds. That doesn't seem that hard. However, that's a deadline. That might change what I eat tonight. Losing general weight? Nah. Hope doesn't do that. You're going to start putting specifics around it to drive the behavior. And those specifics, they're going to expose excuses. That vagueness, that's easy. That's easy. But specifics expose excuses. Precisions or specifics, that calls the excuse out. You can't do that. Specifics trigger problem solving too. Okay, it makes the brain ask how instead of say, someday I'll get to it. Specifics makes you put action to that focus, where generalities, that's your excuse. And then that will in turn drive urgency. That deadline sharpens your attention. You got to do it. Open-ended goals, whatever. So general goals, they feel good, but specific goals lead to focus that gets the results. Yeah, so let's raise the stakes a little bit. If you want proof that focus is everything, just watch the Olympics. They're going on now, and I love them. At the highest level of human performance, the talent is table stakes. The difference in the number 1 and the number 50 tennis player in the world, that's not ability. Talent is just table stakes. That's it. However, you got to be in shape. You got to have the talent. The coaching is elite across the board. We're talking Olympics now. What separates the gold from fourth place, not making the podium, focus. Focus. So let's talk about the purple car theory we talked about earlier. Once you've focused on something, you see it everywhere. Let's talk about that in relation to the Olympics. An Olympic sprinter, they don't notice the crowd. Before they wave to the crowd, they're not hyping it up. When they're running, they don't even know the crowd's there. They may hear the roar, but no, that's part of it. 60,000 people screaming, cameras flashing, your national pride is on the line. I don't know how they do it. I would crumble. I'd be a little puddle. I'd probably make a puddle just thinking about that. But when that gun fires, the whole world collapses into reaction time. Those first 3 steps, the drive phase of what they're doing, and relax, and they can actually relax at full speed. Think about that. All the training, all the years, the hours, my goodness, teaching that, it's the start. It's the first 3 steps. It's relaxing and trusting it because of the focus. You don't hear anything else. The focus, that's it. During that run, we're talking track and field now, they're not thinking about the medals. They don't think about endorsement deals. Not at that moment. They don't think about what happens if they false start. Oh, no, because the focus will be on the negative. Their brain filters out everything except that lane in front of them. And that selective attention is at its most discipline right there. That's why I love it so much. These people have focused and dedicated much of their life and attention to this focused performance. And it's got a deadline. It's got action items. Anything that's not involved in this, it's out there. Let's think about gymnastics. I know that's Summer Olympics and it's coming up, but watch a gymnast on the balance beam. It's hard for me to do. And they got those little bitty feet. It's a 4-foot beam and all that, but still, you got the same thing. You got a global audience, years of work. Some of these girls have been at it since they were able to walk, and one slip and it's over. They're not thinking, trust me, I know some people who've done gymnastics for years, and they're not thinking, what if I fall? Not falling? No. They're thinking, toes pointed, whatever, core tight, and just nail the landing or spot where they're going to land. They know they're going to do it. But see, when that focus narrows, all the noise disappears. The purple car effect at that point is weaponized because they see every step. They visualize it. They know where everything is. They've done it 1,000 times. It's fantastic. The difference I heard in golfers, some of the golfers nowadays, the slightest little distraction in there, they have to stop and back away. Drives me crazy. I remember Lee Trevino one time, he was putting and a car backfired as somewhere, and it was big explosion. They said, "Did that bother you?" And I didn't even notice it because he was focused. He's not focused on the crowd. He's not focused on how he looks or what he's going to say in an interview. Not at all. And let's talk about swimming. Back to the Olympics. I went from golf to the Olympics. So, golf is in the Olympics, but let's talk about swimming. An Olympic swimmer spends most of the race underwater. They can't hear anything. Maybe some bubbles or their own breathing patterns, but they're counting strokes. They know how many strokes it is to the wall. They know how to time that turn because they visualize the whole thing. And milliseconds matter. So they're not wondering what another lane is doing. They're focused on their activities and they are locked in. It's unbelievable. They're in silence pretty much until it's over. So all of that, and there's science behind all of this. This isn't just a hype or a motivational thing. Elite athletes, they use mental rehearsal because the brain does not fully distinguish between what's imagined, vividly imagined reps, or physical reps. No, not the brain. The body does. But the brain doesn't, and the brain is what helps us focus. Focused visualization actually activates motor skills and pathways. It's proven, and that's why there's so much science behind training now. What you focus on literally strengthens your connection to your brain. That's not motivational fluff. That's science. It's true. Trust the science. So I'm beating this so much so that we understand the value of it and how you can control your brain. We talk a lot about freedom and control and resolve. It's so important. But what does all this mean? Yeah, okay, maybe I've convinced you. You tell your brain where to focus and it will, and it get it better and it tie it in. But you may not be competing for a medal. Chances are you're not. I know I'm not. But what you are competing for is your health, your relationships, your marriage, your business, your career, your peace of mind. That's why this focus is so important. The difference between average and excellent, it's not just more effort. You can work hard at everything. I got so much stuff going on. I got this. I'm covered up. I got more than I can do. Yeah, that's not it. Focus is the answer, not harder work. You've heard work smarter, not harder. Hey, work specifically. It's going to help you focus and it's going to get you there. Olympians, they don't try to win everything at once. That's how they can relax. If you're a track guy and you got a good kick, you're not worried about those people being in front of you. You're not trying to win right now. You just want to be ahead at the end. That's it. Olympians, they focus on this lap or this lift or this particular routine, or maybe just be this breath. I need to focus on my breathing and trust my training because my focus has been there. That's how you win. That's how gold medals happen. But the thing is, the hard truth around this is when you scatter your attention, you perform like a average person. In the pros, the pros would say you perform like an amateur. You react instead of execute. You hear the crowd. You want to hear the crowd instead of some signal that helps you focus more. That's it. When you scatter your attention. But when you narrow your attention, you get more specific and you're focused, your decisions sharpen. You have fewer decisions to make because you're focused, and they sharpen, and your energy is concentrated, and your confidence goes up. This is what we're here for. And I'm not just talking about the Olympics anymore. You don't need Olympic talent, but you do need this Olympic type of attention to whatever you're focusing on. So the real questions is your life, are you being scored like in an Olympic event? No. But if you were, what would the judges say about your focus? You know, we judge a lot of things. Appearance, tone, attitude, a lot of different things. But what about the focus? What is that? It's about disciplined attention to what actually matters. And once you lock in, everything else gets quiet. And what you focus on improves. What you focus on improves. So let's talk just a second about things we focus on that don't really help us. The focus is neutral. It improves anything, including the wrong things, if we focus on them. Common traps we fall into. Other people's opinions. If you're focused on that, what? You're going to self-fulfill a prophecy for them. That's not you. What are your goals? What are you focused on? Or if you're focusing on past mistakes that you can't fix, it's over. You can't fix that. If you do it again, you can do it differently. But when you focus on the past, beat yourself up, that inner voice, it's not helping you. It's just commentary. Or if you focus on worst case scenarios, oh my goodness, the gymnast, what if I fall? What if I do a flip and hit my head and crack it open and bleed out on the mat in front of? Stop. Worst case scenarios, don't focus on those. Don't focus on them. No, you can consider them. What's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, all right. Use that to motivate you in a positive way. And one thing that I talk about all the time about social media and some of the things, especially with teenagers, but it's throughout life now, is comparisons. Don't focus on comparing yourself to somebody else. The swimmer is not comparing how he's doing to number 5. He's counting his strokes. He's focused. He's counting that. He's got the flip turn. He's reaching for the wall. There's no comparison. And another thing, comfort and convenience. Comfort and convenience are the enemy of success. So if you're focusing on that, what can I do to get by? How can I get through the day till I can clock out and go home and do something? You're not focusing on doing the best job you can do. You're not focusing on achievement. You're focusing on comfort or comparison. So those are not the things. Other people's opinions, past mistakes, worst case scenarios, comparisons, comfort and convenience. No, don't focus on those. Those are deterrents to success. None of these make you stronger. They'll make you feel busy, but that's not what we're looking for. The results of this, when you're focused on the wrong things, it's going to increase your anxiety. Yeah, because you're still scattered. And that's going to wear you out and your energy's going to drop. And that's going to happen and your confidence is going to be eroded. And then you're not going to have any progress. You may have been breaking even now, but now you're failing. And then, boom, your identity shrinks. You're not the winner. You're not the performer because you're focusing on the wrong things. You don't become what you want. You actually become what you focus on. Those negatives, wrong path. So what happens when you focus on the right things? When you're clear and intentional when you're focused? Well, your decisions become simpler. In a previous O-Talk, I talked about the shoe salesman that was selling more than everybody because what he did, a lady wanted to see this pair of shoes. Then she wanted to see this pair of shoes. Then when she wanted to see a third pair, he said, okay, which one would you like to take me? Which one would you like me to take away? Limiting the decisions to 2. because then she could focus. These are the top two. Which one? Many times they would buy both. But don't give them 3. Don't give them 10. That's it. Your decisions simplify because you're more focused on the top ones, not all of the ones. And then what also happens, time expands. So think about it. If you just got these 2, now I can really focus on them because I've freed my mind of all this other stuff. So now I have more time because I'm focused. And those efforts are going to compound. Meaning I can think this through. What does this mean for me here? What are some other things that are involved in this that still apply that I'm going to be able to generate because I am focused on this? And you grow in confidence with that. Oh, this is a no-brainer. I got this. Absolutely. And what happens with that is your momentum is going to grow and be self-sustaining because you're making confident decisions based on what you're focused on. This can be at home. This can be a hobby. It definitely can be at work. It may be on self-improvement. All of these things. What you're focused on improves. That's why disciplined people, they look calmer. Yeah, they look more confident and calm. They got this. And they are more confident and calm. They're not doing more. They're doing less on purpose. And they're doing it very well. And then they move on. And that momentum grows. The confidence grows. And they attract people. People want to be around that person that is focused on a purpose. Absolutely. So let's talk about some action items. What do we do with this? This is great talk, Dave, but how do we do this? This is not theory. This is action items. Write down one priority for home, one for work, and one for play. What's a priority? What's something, just you're going to do more and all that? Yeah, one for each, because all 3 are important. If you don't believe that, we got to go back. We got to go back to the drawing board, but just one each. Write that down. What's a priority here? Home, work, and play. And then make each one of them measurable. Be specific. If it's weight loss, how much, by when? If it's learn a new language, okay, what's a section of this I can learn? What do I want to do each day? And by the end of the month, what's a reasonable goal? Boom. And then ask, what deserves my best energy for the next month, for the next week, whatever period of time you want? What deserves my best? That's going to weed out a lot of the stuff. That's a drama detector right there. And then eliminate one of those distractions that competes with this focus. I need to focus on my health, too general. I need to focus on daily exercise. Every day for the next week, I'm going to walk 5,000 steps. I won't go to sleep till I walk 5,000 steps. Okay? What's going to distract me from that? Rain? Okay. Well, if it rains, I can go some indoor. I can join a gym. I can go to the mall. Do they still have malls? Somewhere, but I'm walking 5,000 steps. I get a treadmill if I have to. But I'm eliminating weather. That could be an obstacle. And then 5, review your focus daily, weekly, and adjust stuff. Don't just quit or don't just drift. Don't say, I'm going to walk, okay, I just got 2,500 steps in today. Tomorrow I'm going to walk 7,500. I'll make up for that. No, you're drifting. You're drifting. You know what, week 2, I'm going to walk 10,000. Or month 2, I'm going to walk 10,000 a day. But you focus on it. Focus is a practice. It's not a personality trait. You hear people, they're so organized, they're so disciplined. It's not a personality trait. Focus is a practice. Sports comes to mind, but also it could be learning. It can be homework. It can be a discipline of any kind. But do that. Let's go back. Pick one thing from homework and play, a priority. Make it measurable and what of these, how does this deserve your best energy? And what what could be a possible distraction, and then review it, tweak it, adjust it. Don't make excuses. So focus, it's not about, a lot of people think focus is about intensity. No, not really. It's about direction. I'm moving in this direction. Maybe slow, but I'm focused, and I know I am. The mind is going to obey you. You're going to notice things that are involved in what you're focused on that you wouldn't have before. The mind will obey you, and the results will follow. The only question is whether you've told your brain the truth about what really matters. And you got to choose carefully, because what we focus on improves. Now in sales, we do that because activities. Is this activity going to push us toward the goal? Yes. Okay, great. Then all we have to do is execute. This activity might not. Well, then let's not do it. Let's focus on the activities that lead us there. Will these activities help in my relationships? Absolutely. You'll listen more. You'll be more grateful. You'll appreciate it. Gossip, drama, misplaced emotion, those won't help. No, push those aside. Take time. Listen. Appreciate. That'll help relationships because you're going to focus on that. So think about what's important. Think about how to give it your best. Think about what's going to get in the way and focus on that thing that is that important. All right. Thanks so much for joining. This is an important one. It is. You can be successful without focus, but you will be wildly successful with it. So set those goals. Hit me up, david@otalks.com, david@otalks.com. Go to otalks.com. There's stuff there. It tells you how to get a hold of me. Let's focus here. I appreciate you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. But most of all, thanks for O-Talking with Dave. Giddy up.